What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Steve and this is Tech Teardown. Today in this video I'll be showing off some of the benchmarks I had in testing the $280 gaming computer that I built last week in my step-by-step tutorial video. If you missed that, I will leave a link in the description and maybe in some time cards over here. In this very budget-friendly system, it uses the Ryzen 3 1200 processor and the R9 380 graphics card from PowerColor. And today in 2020, the R9 380X, you're going to see that these benchmarks show that it is a great budget option for anyone trying to get into PC gaming with a very strict budget. I got my 380X over a year ago for about $50, so hopefully you guys can get it probably cheaper now again today. The Ryzen 3 1200, you can buy it new for around $60 from Newegg and Amazon. I got mine used off of Facebook Marketplace for $40. If you want something more powerful, AMD did a refresh of their legendary Ryzen 5 1600. It's the 1600AF. It's $85 everywhere. It used to be that the original 1600 was $80 at Micro Center and was one of the better buys if you lived near a Micro Center. But now, since AMD refreshed that processor, and it's now on the 12 nanometer process, it performs very well and it's only $85. So if you can muster an extra $45 to get that processor over this 1200, I would highly recommend it. With this 1200, you're going to be getting 4 cores and 4 threads. If you were to get something like that 1600AF, it is a 6-core and 12-threaded processor, much more friendly to someone that is going to be wanting to stream or maybe do some light video editing or other work-related items other than gaming. But gaming is working its way up to being able to utilize 6 cores. So you might see a noticeable difference that way as well. Alright, so I think that's enough jibber-jabbering about the hardware that's in the system. I think it's time to go over the benchmark results and see if this thing is worth your $280. Alright, starting off now with the game that I'm obsessed with right now, that is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. We're going to look at the average FPS right now, which is at 74.2 frames per second. So very adequate. This was run at normal settings, and the 1% lows were at 38.9. Next, we're going to go on to Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Now, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is definitely a game that leans more towards NVIDIA, but it still performed adequately on medium settings. I used the medium preset at 1080p, and it is 1080p for all of the games that we tested, by the way. And with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, we had an average FPS of 58.2 frames per second and 1% lows of 36.2 frames per second. Alright, next moving on to another NVIDIA friendly title, we have Hitman 2, also with the medium preset at 1080p. We have an average frame rate of 58.7 frames per second and a 1% low of 24.4 frames per second. Moving on to an AMD friendly title, this is Far Cry 5. Now the results were lower than I expected, and you can definitely get better results than what I got here. This was at 1080p at normal settings, and we only had an average frame rate of 49.6 frames per second, so we weren't able to reach that 60 frames. But as I said, if you lower some of those settings, maybe the anti-aliasing, then you would be able to get that 60 frames per second, I would bet, because Far Cry 5 is definitely optimized better for any type of AMD product. Granted, the R9 380X is an older card, but it still should be able to handle this game at 60 frames per second if you optimize it better than I did in testing this game. And then lastly, with Far Cry 5, the 1% low was at 43.3. Alright, next we have Rainbow Six Siege, another game that I really like. And at 1080p normal settings, we are looking at an average frame rate of 154.6. Very good performance for this popular game. And then we have a 1% low of 107.1. And last but not least, another AMD friendly title from Ubisoft. We have The Division 2 at normal settings, and we have an average frame rate of 55.4. So another game that you can optimize to get over 60 frames per second. If you're going to be just playing through the single player and not doing any of the PvP stuff, 55.4 is probably enough for you. But if you want to get into PvP, you're definitely going to want to optimize those settings better to get a more premium experience. And with the 1% lows, they are at 30.6 frames per second. Alright guys, the benchmarks are in and you can see how this $280 gaming system performs. I want to know what you think, if this is worth that $280 price point. I think this is a pretty good performer. It is obviously not going to last you long, especially if you're looking to get into a game like Cyberpunk 2077. I foresee this system not being able to handle that at all. So if that is a game that you're looking to get into, understand that you're probably going to have to update the system. A new processor and new graphics card would be in your future if you're looking to get Cyberpunk 2077 playing at 1080p over 60 frames per second. So that is one thing to consider when you look into a system like this. But it gets you started, especially if you're wanting to get into some of the games that I tested here, or especially if you're looking to get into some of the esports titles like Fortnite and Counter-Strike Global Offensive, those types of games. This system is going to handle perfectly and you'll be able to keep up with all of the pros, at least frames per second wise. Alright, so that's all I have to say about the testing and the benchmarks of this system. Again, let me know down in the comments what you think of it. I do want to let you know that in the future I am doing a very cool modification to this computer. I'm not going to go into it too much, but I just want to let you know that I'm doing something very cool to show you guys how that you can mod a computer and make it something unique and all your own for pretty cheap if you are looking if you get creative with what you do. Now this is going to be something that I've wanted to do. So if you're someone that's been interested in looking into customizing a computer, making something very unique, making it a piece of art, then that's something you're going to want to tune into in the future. I'm going to be working on that for a little while, so it's not going to be coming too soon, but definitely in the near future. So look out for that. It'll be the last video I do with this system, but it's going to be very cool. And then last but not least, before I wrap up this video, I just want to let you all know that the giveaway is coming up to an end and I'm going to be drawing the winners next week, so look out for that. I want to thank all of you that have participated and reached out to me. Thank you all for your patience, but that's it for this video, guys. If you liked it, give it a like. If you didn't like it, let me know down in the comments what you didn't like about it so I can fix that in the future. And if you want to see more from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell. The bell lets YouTube know that you want to know exactly when I've uploaded a video, and they notify you when I do. All right, guys, thanks again for watching. You have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.